The House is out of session, but you're in town, and it's nice to see you. Thank you for coming in.
It's always great to be with you, and yes, I am in session. I am here.
You're in session.
Indeed.
That's all we need for the purposes
I'm in session 24/7.
Yeah, well, we are too here at Bloomberg. I love that. Well, let me ask you about that, and it's not where I was planning to start. How do you conduct constituent services with a staff that's not getting paid and a government that's closed?
A credit to my Washington, D.C. and district staff. They show up every day, as do I, without compensation, take calls, do the best they can with what they've got.
Yeah.
But you're right. Most of the government agencies with whom we communicate on a daily basis are closed. However, there are several folks in the federal government working. I spoke with some folks this week at GSA and others. They're taking phone calls. They're doing the best they can, working under very arduous circumstances that they did not create. So we are working. We're doing the best we can. We're taking phone calls. But this whole shutdown's outrageous.
How was it flying in? Did you get delayed?
I did last night. Actually, I was trying to come in from Chattanooga last night through Atlanta, but this morning I got the direct and made it, and just glad to be here.
I just wonder to what extent we start to see a breakdown in air traffic control, because all those guys working 60 hours and gals up in the tower are not getting paid either. Are we going to set a new record? That's foregone now, right? We're only 9 days away from, or less than that, from setting a new record. Shutdown.
I hope not, but I'm afraid we're headed that way. And to all of the federal workers, whether it's our air traffic controllers, our troops, our other federal workers, people who rely on the federal government, my heart goes out to you. My thanks go out to you. You're doing the right thing by showing up. TSA, I saw wonderful people in Chattanooga at TSA today. Under difficult circumstances, they were so nice and so cordial. They thanked me for working tirelessly to keep the government open. I voted that way.
And I'm foregoing pay?
Yes.
You are?
I signed
every
away.
member of the Republican conference? It seems like
I don't know.
Every member period might be. I don't know.
Under the Constitution, we actually have to take affirmative action, which I did. And I signed, before this started, a letter saying suspend my pay. I was never going to be in a position where I would ever take compensation while others did not. But the member of Congress or the Senate under the Constitution actually has to tell the clerk to withhold the pay, and I did do that.
Really interesting. So you've been in Washington for a minute, Congressman. How is this going to unfold? How is this going to end? Or is it actually different this time, like some seem to think?
In 15 years, and now I've been able to accede to a position where we affectionately call myself a cardinal, one of the 12 on appropriations. This is relevant to what I do. I have never been more disappointed, disgusted, disheartened, and candidly, this is a farce. There are times in this town when reasonable minds can differ. Sometimes unreasonable minds can differ. This was a Schumer shutdown for political purposes. It's wrong. It's plain and simple. He can say whatever he wants. You never shut the federal government down. It's never a good thing to do. The House voted to keep it open. And if you look at where we are, we have hurt the American people. We've hurt the American economy. We've hurt the American Republic, and we've hurt the credibility of the House and Senate, the legislative branch, with the American people at a time when it's at an all-time low. This should have never, ever happened, and Chuck Schumer needs to open the government up. It's a farce. If you look at where we are and where we're going to go, when we reopen the government, and eventually we will, it's still going to take 60 votes in the United States Senate to pass a budget, and it's still going to take Republican and Democratic votes in the House to pass a budget. Why? Because many of my brethren, and I respect them very much, will never vote for appropriation bills. I always vote for appropriation bills, but I'm an appropriator. It's like an offensive coordinator. I'm going to vote for touchdown.
Yes, okay. So I'm sure as an appropriator, your head's exploding at this moment in time. We've never felt much further away from regular order as the idea of a full year CR is being floated now. Jason Smith just last week said he's behind it if it gets the government open or keeps it open through December 26th. What gets it back open, though? Are we going to, I mean, is this perpetual? Do we go on for the rest of the year? If everyone's still talking the same as they were 29 days ago, where's the off-ramp?
The truth which from the inception, the truth on this one, 100%, is this is a Chuck Schumer shutdown.
Well, I know you made that point.
And a farce.
Well, if he never comes around, what do you do?
The second thing is the pressure from groups that traditionally support Democrats. You saw a large federal labor union the other day call for what? A clean and open CR. You're going to start seeing more and more people call. Your show does a tremendous objective job, and I thank you for that. But what we need is more media to start calling balls and strikes. And I watch all the media, right, left, center, and the like, because I want to get that flavor and that perspective, and it helps me do my job in a more beneficial way. But the reality is we need to call out the people who have caused this. This is a Democratic cause shutdown, and the reality is it's got to stop. It's hurting the American people. It's actually hurting the American Republic right now. And I will say this, as you know, being candid, being straightforward, I am a big, big fan of President Trump's. But anytime you dump the burden of a government shutdown on any executive branch, Republican or Democratic, it's unfair to the executive branch because they have to make the tough choices. He's done a very good job given a very bad hand by the Congress. It's our job in the House and Senate to keep the government open, to pass budgets, and you hit on something that's so important. We failed last year. We got a continuing resolution. In fiscal 24, we had a great budget deal. I wrote an energy and water bill, probably the best one in decades for the House. This time, if we don't do this, we've imperiled the entire federal budgetary process for an entire year.
That's right.
I don't want to devolve into a year-long CR. We should never do that.
That's your nightmare, right?
That is
for
our
an appropriator.
Nightmare. That is our nightmare.
Hey, so the government's closed and will continue to stay closed for some period of time, but business is still going on. The NVIDIA GTC conference that I mentioned in its last day today here in Washington was a huge reminder of that yesterday. When we consider the opportunities at hand, this market doesn't seem bothered by the shutdown. We're literally setting records every day from, in great part, advances in the AI sphere. And you and I have talked a lot about the need for energy. That was a huge part of the conversation at the NVIDIA confab. I was talking to folks last evening from NVIDIA, from OpenAI, from Crusoe, and nuclear was a huge part of the conversation. And I kept thinking, well, Congressman Fleischmann's coming in tomorrow, and I'm going to ask him about this. Small modular reactors, SMRs, are those the answer to getting that clean, uninterruptible power to these data centers, or are we going to sit here for a decade while we relight these vampire nuclear sites or build new ones?
Another excellent question. I chair the American Dominance in Energy Caucus in Congress. I chair 8 energy-related caucuses. These are bipartisan caucuses that work to make America dominant in energy. A big part of that for me is nuclear. I represent Oak Ridge, does a great job. SMR, small modular reactors, are part of the solution. Advanced reactors are also part of the solution. There's Generation 3, Generation 4. I don't want to get too technical. Also microreactors. We've seen new microreactors come forward. We just had one company come into Tennessee, which is great. We also still need big nuclear. I don't want to ever downplay. A company, Holtec, has gone out. They are actually restarting a nuclear power plant that was shuttered in Michigan. That's great. Even New York State, which is certainly not a bastion of conservatism, is looking at bringing back nuclear.
NextEra in Iowa now?
And 3 Mile Island, the not damaged reactor that's been laying vacant for years, is going to be coming back. So the nuclear sector is booming. It's going to continue to boom. What we need is reliable fuel, whether that's LEU or HALEU, and we're going to start producing HALEU, highly enriched uranium. It's up to 19.5% in the United States again. We let that go away. We've been dependent on Russia. So the whole cycle, then we got to look at the back end of the cycle. What are we going to do with spent nuclear fuel? I think the key is reprocessing.